Yo, what is up? How is everybody doing today? I hope you guys are having a good Saturday so far. Here in Colorado, something unusual happened, and I don't know if I'm sure it reads the whole screen, but look at this 50 degrees. 50 degrees. Yesterday we were at 97. Now, I've said it before, and I'll say it for as long as I live here. Colorado is bipolar when it comes to weather, women, men, pretty much everything here associated with Colorado is bipolar. No, I think it's just a lack of oxygen to the brain. Anyways, enough dissing my own home state. I love it here. I can never leave. Born, raised, lived up to this point in my life. Yeah, I can't see myself ever wanting to leave. I thought Florida was nice until I started seeing all these stories pop up from that chapter about how crazy Florida is. And then other people covering the same topic. So, yeah, maybe I'll just stay in the Mile High City longer. Even though, gosh, our economy has gone up 19% in the last, what was it, 10 years or so? And even more so since the pandemic had started till now, which has had a lasting effect on a lot of places, I'm sure. But gosh, like, it's gotten to the point where I think milk is like $6 now over here. Anyways, enough talk about that depressing type of stuff. I'll just jump into the other depressing stuff today. So I'm gonna continue where I left off. It's entitled the what is it titled again? The most disgusting man on YouTube ever. And it took me a while to like I wanted to do it all in one shot, but the video's long. That's one reason why I didn't do it all in one shot, but the facts of what he's about, what he did, yeah, I couldn't handle it after a while. I mean, it's just fucking disgusting. So here's the second part of the most disgusting man on YouTube, or the grossest man online.
Confirmed it was him in the thread was hacked. He also claimed the police were blocking him from websites, so he couldn't defend himself properly. About a month later, Nick claimed that the channers, aka the people posting to the board, were taking over most of his accounts. One fear he might have at the time is them gaining access to his email. Apparently, Nick saves every conversation he ever had and emails himself to himself. On the same day as him claiming his accounts were being hijacked, Nick created a new DeviantArt account under the Nick Bate handle. He posted a journal to the DeviantArt explaining what happened to his old account, writing, "Sup, my old account was Hagurumon, but lately a bunch of jerk chantards have been hijacking all my accounts and changing the passwords. It's a long story, but basically they think I'm a lulz cow just because I have a bunch of weird fetishes, and I'm all nerdy and stuff. There's a bunch of threads about me on an image board, and posters have been trying to get me arrested for molesting my half-sister, even though I can prove that I didn't. But of course, they don't listen to a word I say. It's also been floating around that I'm stalking someone, but that's not true either. The real story is that I met this girl, Anna, back in 2005, fell in love with her, and then on August 23rd, 2008, she randomly decided to start hating me and told all her friends I'm creepy, a stalker, an idiot, etc. So now tons of people on the internet hate me, so that's nice. It'll probably be a while until I post any art or anything. I lack a scanner. On June 17th, 2011, Nick made another YouTube channel, most likely to run from the channers, entitled Constant Butts. He posted his first video that day of just him doing things around the house and showing off his cats. But while he did this, he would sprinkle in him singing about having sex with children's butts.
Performing analingus on children is the right thing to do.
And eating poop.
Gotta lick your anus, use my tongue. Gotta lick your anus and taste your dung.
And he also made a post on this day as well, in which he details that the internet denizens had contacted his mom and his family is mad at him because of this. Nick made another video on June 21st titled IDK I Forget, where he shows all his Anna-themed collections. At one point, he reads a letter Anna had sent him years prior. And worst of all, he has a list of sexual things he wants to do with Anna, and a separate list of things he wants to do to Anna's butt.
Where in the world is... Ooh, things I want to do to Anna's butt. This is a good one.
And then he ends this video singing about Anna's butt.
Gonna have anal sex with Anna in her anus,
the
and I will
fuck?
lick it also and taste her feces.
On July 21st, Nick posted a journal about his home life. Mostly he recapped events going on with his B family, but one paragraph read, "Okay, this is the disturbing paragraph. Here we go. I got my little flashlight thing stuck up my butt. Normally I leave the tip sticking out so I can grab it and pull it out when I'm done. But on this particular occasion, I forgot it was in there. I clenched and accidentally sucked it the whole way up." He posted another entry that same day titled, "More Emo Whining," where he expressed how upset he was with the Channers and how they have hijacked all of his accounts. On August 5th, 2011, Nick tweeted out, "I want to be involved in a tabloid scandal someday. Nick Bate, shocker. Add a K, something like that." Another conversation between Maddie and Nick that was later leaked occurred on October 24th, 2011. In the conversation, Maddie tries to beg Nick to wash his stinky ass. Maddie's criticism of Nick's hygiene continued into November, and on November 18th, she wrote, "I have a strong feeling that you smell bad, and whenever you sit down, you leave a residue, like that slime guy from Monsters, Inc." To which Nick claimed to have no bad smell, which is highly unlikely. And then he followed that up with telling Maddie that he wanted to violate Anna in various ways, which obviously made Maddie uncomfortable. There were more disgusting messages between them, including this one from November 21st, 2011. Nick writes, "Maddie, will you be my wiping mentor? Do you wipe sitting or standing? How much paper do you use? Do you crumple or fold? What fingers do you use? What motion do you use? Like up and down? Side to side? In a circle? The way you clean CDs? Oh, also, which hand? Also, do you reach a wound at the back or through your legs? How many strokes does it take? How many sheets?" To which Maddie just responded with a sad face. And Nick responds, "See, Maddie, this is why I can't do anything. I need to know every last detail. One thing missing and I blow the whole task. Cry face." Also in the conversation, Maddie informs Nick that Anna thinks he's disgusting. The next point of interest comes on December 22nd, 2011, on Nick's old DeviantArt account, where you can see Nick saying he molested his sister in the comment section. Nick continued to message Maddie till the end of 2011, with disgusting comments about sexual things in which Maddie seemed highly uncomfortable, and this continued into 2012. According to the text from early January 2012, Nick began to threaten Anna's boyfriend. The conversation was strange. I've read through all the DMs between Nick and Maddie seems to be very blunt and constantly telling Nick to stop and leave Anna alone, and Nick continues to try to convince Maddie that he's right for the girl. Not only that, Nick mentions that Maddie had ruined his life, which I assumed it's because she leaked information on him to the message board. But Nick keeps talking to her despite this. Maddie also informed Nick that Anna was disgusted with the letter he sent her and burned it. Despite Nick continuing to talk to Maddie, in a journal from January 7th, 2012, he details that Maddie was continuing to leak stuff.
Okay. Honestly, I am getting sick to my stomach hearing this, but in a sense, it's like, I kind of want to see those trigger points in people, just because I have nieces, for one, and just like I love them with all my heart, I have that amazingly special one, which is my baby girl, my daughter. And if some dude was writing her shit like this and she told me, gosh, I wouldn't kill him, but I sure as hell would beat the shit out of him, then call the cops. Like, you need to come get this dude because I probably broke his jaw. I mean, I'm just so disgusted at this. It's hard to watch and listen how he rationales shit. It's just not. I mentioned before, when I got out of the music industry, I had a job of working with, as a vocational rehabilitation counselor, I worked with people with documented disabilities, and I had multiple, clients who were paranoid schizophrenics. And none of them, because when you're having your episodes, like, some people do, like, they have their episodes. It doesn't matter when, where, when, or how, some of it had, like, I had mentioned this one person. She was this maybe around 50, 55-year old tiny little black woman who just lit up the room with her smile. Had She really did had the most beautiful smile, and her laugh was just contagious. I mean, people would actually come down and just to hear her laugh. And when I say come down, downstairs was one of the areas that I supervised, which was a logistics area. So everything coming into the hospital at the Denver VA went through us. And so they would come down just to hear her laugh and smile. But when it started getting time for her to get her monthly shot, you could start to see things happen. She would be more quiet, more reserved. Um, Really, if you were to ask her, can you please, pick that up for me? She would go cry. So I know how I'm not a doctor, not a psychologist, but just from personal experience and from what I've dealt with, I mean, I had one young girl in her maybe late 20s, early 30s. Um, I had an off site meeting, and I come back and then, have to register the car back to the VA, to the Facilities Management Service. FMS it's called at the VA. And it's FMS at a lot of places, so. And you know how military loves their acronyms. Um, but I dropped the car off, come outside, and right there, one of my coworkers was like kind of waiting on me. They're like, "We were trying to get a hold of you." I'm like, "What? Is everything okay?" I had my cell phone off. I was in a meeting. They're like, "Yeah, everything's kind of okay." I'm like, "What's kind of okay?" So we had this young woman who had came in through DVR, which is called Division of Vocational Rehab, and they were clients that were also sent to us, not only through the VA but through Denver. A lot of them were TANF clients, which are mothers on programs for welfare. A lot of them were, homeless, or getting out of that stage of homelessness and proving that they could hold a job. Another responsibility of ours. It was a main responsibility of ours. But to get to the point, this young woman, when I went to this meeting, she went on lunch, and uh, one of our assistant leaders seen her outside of the cafeteria where everyone can see her during lunch rolling around in the grass looking for a four-leaf clover. I'm like, what? I was like, is she still here? And they're like, yeah, but I was like, okay, just leave it at that. And so I had to send her home. I mean, when they are not checked on, unfortunately, when they're not checked on regularly, you know, who knows where their mind goes? I have no idea. But I just know that two ends you could go to. You could go to, being just flat out weird, and, you don't give a shit what people around you think. Or you could be like the wonderful lady that I worked with a beautiful smile and laugh. And you could be like that. You know, it's almost like bipolar schizophrenia. That's what I would best describe it. But this, first off, it doesn't sound like I'm not sticking up for him whatsoever. But whatever the fuck is going on with him, like if he had loving parents, they would have found that shit out a long time ago, taking him in to get some help. No, they wait till he gets older to put their young daughter now in harm's way because of their lack of concern or care for this fucking sicko. Like, there should have been an ultimatum made. Like, you're either going to go get some help or you're kicked off this property. You're not going to come back. And if you do, we'll file a trespassing notice against you. Something along those lines so his ass would, you know, hopefully get some help because this shit is just disgusting, man.
and that the trolls would not leave him alone on Twitter. In a conversation on January 14th between Nick and Maddie, Nick tells her that he will no longer think of her as his best friend because of her leaking information causing him to be trolled, to which Maddie responds, "I really do not care." And he also decided someone named Tom was to be his new BFF, who also apparently hated him. On February 9th, he posted a blog entitled An Explanation of the Obsession Cycle, where he talks about how he becomes obsessed with various fandoms, and he seems to be responding to an article, which I assume may be his entry into the Encyclopedia Dramatica wiki, which is interesting because he talks about his obsessions with They Might Be Giants, Bonus Stage, and other fandoms, rather than try to refute the molestation and stalking allegations that were contained in the entry. There are more conversations between Maddie and Nick, and one from March 9th, 2012. Nick says he was banned from the computer because his dad got a virus that put child pornography on their computer, and his dad assumed Nick had done that. Very fair assumption, to be honest. In a psychological evaluation of Nick that we will go over later, Nick admitted to his therapist he had attempted to find child pornography. The Maddie DMs continued all throughout the month.
Then that therapist is fucking not doing a good job. I can guarantee you that shit. She's not I can't even talk today. Monitoring his activities. Maybe she has too many clients. Maybe she's just overwhelmed and stressed. Or maybe it's just one of those public clinics that they go to and they really just, you're just another number person. I'm like, you're depressed. Here's your clonazepam, here's your lorazepam, here's your, freaking Adderall, whatever it may be. I mean, that's sad.
Month of March, and in the messages, it was just Maddie telling Nick he is a gross and Nick asking Maddie to engage in conversations about butts, poop, and Anna. Maddie even repeatedly told Nick in the conversations she was going to leak the DMs onto the image boards. Around this time as well, Nick's Encyclopedia Dramatica page was published, as mentioned before. I listed it on my timeline as March 30th, 2012, though it might have been published before this date as I saw possible mentions of it earlier, but the first archive of the page was on this date. Encyclopedia Dramatica is a parody Wikipedia page focusing on the ongoings on the internet. Though it is not entirely factual, it is usually based around actual events, with some liberties taken for the sake of comedy. Nick Bates' page read, "Who is Nick? Admitted pedophile. Says he likes little girls because their vaginas haven't opened up and become all gross, and they're cute and energetic. Believes and incest should be legal. Says there's stupid laws, and believes children can consent. Says a newborn baby has the exact same brain as an adult. Thinks children can be taught about sex, and then it's okay to them. This includes his own children, were he able to have any. Also, he's a cross-dresser, and he's into LARPing and thinks that Kentucky don't exist. He also mentions a habit of smelling cats. Nick refuses to say use in certain words, so replaces them with O's, as in about/a boot. His reasoning is that he wants to be a Canadian, and as such, these are now known as his Canadianisms. Nick is a devout Christian. He believes marrying Anna is their fate, and that God decided it. He also believes he is a prophet sent by God to tell people of the wonders of anal, and that the Bible story of Sodom and Gomorrah was misinterpreted. Every so often, he will make prophetic tweets. On May 23, 2012, a website called forcesofgeek.com released an article on Nick entitled Digital Shivers. The article coined the term Shuddercow, which is like a lolcow but more horrific. In the future, the label will change to being a horrorcow, and Nick really was the original Horrorcow. The article went over the typical information we reviewed previously in this story, but there are a few things to note. For one, as mentioned before, he calls his biological family his B family, but I did not mention that was because he planned on Anna's family becoming his family once they married, because he hated his parents immensely. The article also details Nick's music career, which we have heard songs he sang in his videos before, but the article adds new information, writing. He is an amateur musician and has occasionally posted songs. They are very basic in nature and have charming titles like Anally Raping Children. Many of them are very short, a move possibly inspired by the Fingertips song collection from They Might Be Giants. The article concluded with, 789chan, the board that Nick Bate was discovered
Oh my
on,
God, this
isn't
one
nearly as
does.
active as, say, 4chan. It's still incredible, though, that random people on the internet found this person and reported him to the authorities through their efforts as a group, even if their efforts have thus far yielded nothing definite. Consider, too, what Nick says about morality on the net. Even when jokes are seen as the norm, when people throw around slurs like free candy, there is a point where something is so bad as to be potentially irredeemable. This is something important to remember as the real world and the virtual gradually merge, that somewhere amidst it all, we can still cling to our humanity. And why should we? Because people still say things like this. How do I get Anna to do anal? After the first time, she'll like it and keep doing it. But the problem is getting that first session. As mentioned in the article, Nick was an aspiring musician, and on August 5th, 2012, he released demos of his music. The songs were all a horrible cacophony of Nick singing out of tune about having sex with butts, including Anna as well as children.
I'm gonna do my wife and also some children in their butts.
Here is a list of the songs. Soundcheck, Doing Children in the Butt, Blowing Up the U.S., I Am Not a Kitten, Anally Raped Children, Oh Baby, I Have Rabies, Do the Doggy Disco, The Anus of Anus, Gonna Stick It in Anna's Butt, Butts, 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 Everybody's Pooping Except for You, Every Day is Like Feces, Vaginas Suck, Butt fuck in the Hood, Tinfoil Bowl, Penises Are Everywhere, I Like Sex, but only in the butt and the mouth, and finally, I Like Sex, but only in the butt and the mouth, take 2. Things grow stagnant. The big discoveries of Nick were pretty much over at this point. For the next few years, it was people following his online antics. For example, on April 25th, 2013, the gossip message forum, Kiwi Farms, started their first thread on Nick. The thread was mostly people comparing Nick Bate to the main lolcow of the forum, Christian. It mostly, at the very beginning, just had people discussing the events that started back in 2011, with very little new information to be found. A lot of people hoped Nick was merely trolling, as he claimed in the 2011 789chan thread. The thread did, however, track Nick's tweets closely. On May 31st, 2013, he tweeted out, "Recently, listening to the recordings of my phone calls with Maddie again. She's so cute, we should date again." On June 16th, 2013, Nick made a post to his live journal titled, "First Entry in a Year and It's Confusing and Upsetting," in which Nick is most likely discussing his relationship with Maddie. He is describing a friend who betrayed him, and seems to be shocked about it, despite Maddie constantly telling him that she hated him and was leaking all their conversations. Nick is a bit slow. On July 7th, 2013, Nick sent a copy of his psych evaluation to a random person. This person would then release the psych evaluation onto a website called Pastebin. The psych evaluation is long, but I will be going over the highlights. In a section detailing his family life, it is stated that Nick's family won't allow him at home, and when he asked his stepfather why, his stepfather responded, "You know why." Nick stated he did not know why. Following that section writes, Nick does have a 10-year-old maternal stepsister, and he reported that he has a good relationship with her, but he is not allowed to see her without a parent present. He denied any past violence or inappropriate behavior towards her. His mom also reportedly told the therapist that Nick had always been a problem. In a section about school, it was reported that Nick actually has a superior intellect but does not do well with others. There was a section detailing these relations that talked about Anna, which read, community/peer relations. Nick does not have any peer relationships in the community. He has a strained relationship with his family members. He developed a relationship with some individuals online when he was a teenager. One individual is Anna, and she has blocked all contact with him, although he continues to make attempts to contact her electronically. Nick firmly believes that he and Anna will eventually marry, and he continues to ignore her request to not contact her. and the more recent request of the police to stop all contact with her. He believes that she resides in California, but stated that he has no plans to go to California to find her. Quote, because I would need an escort, because I wouldn't know how to go about getting there, unquote. He also reported that he will continue to try to contact her, although, quote, I wouldn't commit a major crime to reach her, but probably a misdemeanor. Also, in a section, the psychiatrist noted that Nick did smell very bad. In another part of the evaluation, it was noted he got physically violent with his mother and left bruises, as well that he fantasizes about violently murdering his stepfather, mom, and aunt. The doctor notes his behavior functioning is concerning. The most disturbing section detailed his sexual perversion, and this read, Nick also reported having sexual fantasies that involve him having anal sex with women and young girls. He reported that his fantasies include both rape and consensual sex. His sexual fantasies involve feces, as he reported that he becomes sexually aroused by fantasizing about women defecating, and that he has used feces when he masturbates. He does frequently view pornographic tapes that involve the above, although he reported he has not been able to access child pornography. He stated that he has never been sexually intimate with anyone. His only sexual encounter was around the age of 13, when he and a female teen cousin touched each other, and this was reported to be consensual. Nick shared his journals with this evaluator, which included numerous writings about sex and violence. He had written about being angry with his aunt and described how he would like to anally rape her. He reported that he does not necessarily fantasize about his aunt, and that he wrote that statement out of anger. At one point, he wrote how something was falling from the sky, and he thought it was semen, but later realized it was rain. On the PT2, Nick's responses on the schizophrenia scale were quite high, T equals 112. Specifically, his high score on the social alienation subscale, T equals 105, suggests that he perceives that he is mistreated and misunderstood. His emotional alienation score, T equals 98, indicated that he has a significant amount of fears, depression, and apathy. Additionally, the high T scores on the lack of ego mastery, cognitive T equals 90, and co-native T equals 92, scales are consistent with someone who fears losing control, feels as though life is unreal, and likely responds to stress by retreating into a fantasy world. His response to the thematic apperception test, TAT, suggested some problems with reality orientation. He described one picture as a house in a snowstorm with eyes in the background. Quote, that's like a ghost or something, unquote. On another card, he saw a figure in the background and stated, quote, that's like a dog wearing a hood, unquote, but later added that he did not know why a dog would be walking upright, wearing a hood. The evaluation concluded he has social phobia, depression, paraphilia, and schizotypal personality disorder. The recommendations for Nick closed the evaluation, which read, 1. Nick is an individual who is suffering from several depressive symptoms that appear to be minimally responsive to medication and therapy at this time. In addition, Nick appears to have a significant problem with cognitive distortions, and his orientation to reality is tenuous. It is likely that his social isolation, which allows him to spend most of his day fantasizing, is contributing to his overall impairment. While Nick has not acted on any of these impulses, based on the level of specific violent details involved in his fantasies and his grossly impaired judgment, it is strongly recommended that Nick be referred to a partial hospitalization program where he can be supervised and treated on a daily basis. This type of environment will also be able to provide him with a safe environment with structure to work on decreasing his anxiety related to interpersonal contact. If Nick is unwilling to attend a partial hospitalization program, his status should be monitored frequently by his intensive case manager to determine if inpatient treatment may be necessary. 2. With regard to his violent sexual fantasies that involve both adults and minors, it is recommended that a comprehensive psychosexual evaluation be conducted as soon as possible. It is recommended that a residential treatment center be considered due to the violent nature of his thoughts. 3. With regard to his housing situation, Nick has questioned his ability to live independently. Presently, his judgment and decision-making abilities are impaired, and it is questionable whether he would be able to function appropriately if faced with an emergency in his home. Based on this, it is recommended that a residential program be considered. On August 4th, Nick tweeted multiple times about thinking of himself as female. To my knowledge, he currently identifies as male. After that, Nick began to tweet obsessively about Hitler, most likely trying to be edgy for attention. Behavior like this is why so many people overlooked his pedophilia proclamations. On August 29th, 2013, Nick tweeted out, "What with all these sexy children coming into the store? I think I figured out my preferred age range, 8 to 10, seems about right." It is believed Nick began to work at a family-owned store, as referenced in the tweet. Again, the gross tweets continued. There's only so many tweets I will read about anal before it becomes redundant, so I will just read off highlights. On October 28th, 2013, Nick tweeted out a picture of one of his rotten teeth falling out. A day after Christmas, December 26, 2013, Nick tweeted out, "I kinda want my own JC Duggard, except I would keep her less than 18 years, because I don't really like adults. At puberty, I'd go kidnap a different child, and the cycle repeats. This is a hypothetical, of course. I'm too timid to kidnap and sexually assault." 2014. 2013 passes, and 2014 comes. And on January 18th, 2014, Nick made a new live journal titled "Kentucky Don't Exist." Saying Kentucky doesn't exist is some joke or something. I don't get it. Then, on January 29th, Nick got admitted to an inpatient hospital and was released, with no spectacular updates to what happened during his stay. He tweeted out on February 13th, "Well, that sucked," and that he finally got released. He detailed the stay 2 days later, writing, "I was hospitalized, so I got involuntarily committed to a psych unit again. It was terrible. What happened was I was at my usual therapy appointment, and I was asked what all my problems are, a lot. In response to the problem of my occasional dark thoughts, she told me to write an essay describing one example in great detail. When I did this, she said it was worrisome and called crisis intervention, who said I should be hospitalized. I was in there just a day under 2 weeks. I don't know what was worse, being around to people constantly, or the boredom stemming from not being able to listen to my iPod or anything. I did make a couple of hospital homies who helped pass the time. These 2 girls said I was cute, which was a surprise because I always thought I was ugly. Why did nobody tell me this before? Also, another girl who looks exactly like my wife, before the weight gain, flirted with me, I'm pretty sure. She sat next to me in one of the groups and intentionally bumped my arm. Then when I looked at her, she was smiling at me. It was pretty cool, and I take it as a good sign about my wife." On February 25th, 2013, he tweeted out, "Great, to stop my cat from peeing on my desk, I put a bunch of stuff on it, so it can't even get up there. So he goes and pees under it. So his place smells like cat piss, and cum." Meanwhile, on March 28th, 2014, the smell of cat piss in his apartment got so bad there was a formal complaint. On April 3rd, 2014, Nick's aunt threw away the pillow he came all over while pretending it was Anna. Nick tweeted, "I'm pissed. Joyce threw out my Anna pillow again. This is the 3rd damn time." On June 11th, 2014, Nick tweeted out a barrage of tweets saying he killed birds as a child, peed himself in school, and more disturbing things. July 14th, 2014, Nick tweeted out a photo of Anna with the caption, "I imagine this is what she looks like when she's pooping." It's been 6 years since Anna blocked him. Finally, something sort of interesting happened. On August 19th, 2014, Anna joined Kiwi Farms to talk about Nick in a long post telling her side of the story. She explained she met him online when she was 12 or 13 and that he was very clingy. But she didn't get freaked out. Explained she met him online when she was 12 or 13. and that he was very clingy, but she didn't get freaked out.
Saying he had been a dick. Friends anywhere. Technically true, I suppose, but the best however less cover was bad like he called my house as I never did. Before I saw his actual fight. And she could have also hang up shit.
Until 2008, when she did eventually block him. She explained after she blocked him on all accounts, he called her at her house, even though she never gave him her number, and this really terrified her. Anna was obviously creeped out and still terrified of Nick, years later. She stuck around to answer more questions, but most importantly, she emphasized that Nick probably did harm his half-sister, and only backtracked when he received backlash. She also informed readers of the forum that she did try to go to the authorities about Nick, and the sheriff dismissed the concerns. Anna stuck around on the forum as Uncanny to answer questions about Nick's obsession with her. She told forum dwellers that Nick would threaten her ex-boyfriends and threaten to visit her in real life. Nick soon got wind of Anna posting to the forums and tweeted out on August 20th, a person claiming to be my wife is posting in that thread. Seeing as how she knows a lot about me, it's pretty safe to assume she's real. She's still displaying hatred of me, but on the other hand, she's still thinking about me, so that's a start. If I had internet access, I'm kinda tempted to post in that thread too, and try to defend myself, and also try to win over wife. Also, idea. Wife said what she hates about me the most is my stupidity, so maybe I could film myself doing some math. The owner of Kiwi Farms, Null, immediately responded to Nick, writing,
@NickBate. If you join my forums, I will ban you and delete your posts before they're read. Kill yourself.
Eventually, Null made the thread members only, so Nick couldn't stalk Anna further. Nick tweeted out about this on August 21st, writing, "Yo, what? They made the thread members only. Well, that's not cool at all." Nick continued to tweet, and Anna continued to answer questions. There's only so many times I can detail Nick's horrific stalking of Anna, and there's only so many tweets about butts I can read. You all get the picture. Someone summed up Nick's online presence by describing him on Twitter as, "Hey everyone, please troll me." Sometime around October 17th, 2014, Nick posted another dance similar to his booby dance, where he danced shirtless
Jeez
and poured
Louise.
liquid on himself.
What the
Notable
fuck
here is you can see his apartment and the clutter near his doorway. He apparently wiped poop on the walls in this apartment. In fact,
Oh
a day
my
before this video,
God.
Nick tweeted out, "Arg, my bee ant came into my apartment and made me clean some of the feces off my walls. No, I want it there, damn it." He continued on his poop rant, writing, "They want to kick me out of the apartment 'cause I can't clean. Good luck with that. I have nowhere else to go until wife reciprocates. Why do normies not want feces on walls? I even asked Bee Ant, but she wouldn't give a straight answer. She just said not to put it there. Meh. When I'm living with wife, I hope she lets me poop up the hoose. And I want to use her poop too, not just mine." Another interesting update
What
on
the
the stench of Nick
fuck is
came
wrong
on
with
December
this
10th,
dude?
2014,
Oh my God.
when he tweeted out multiple times that his cat was peeing all over his apartment. If you've ever had a cat or known someone with a cat pee is one of the most horrendous smells, because cats are meant to live in extreme climates, and therefore they need to hold on to moisture and hydration longer, which makes their pee more concentrated. Once an item gets soaked in cat piss, it will stink of it forever, and there's no way to fix it except to throw away the soiled material. The next update on Nick's hygiene came out 3 days later, when he said he will no longer brush his teeth because it wasn't fun. On the same day as this, Anna was asked if the police ever intervened in the child molestation claims Nick had made. She said that the police have been called on him and that people have reported him, but nothing legally had ever happened to him. She did, however, encourage people to contact child services about Nick's behavior. Nick, throughout the years, had been keeping up an Ask.fm account, a website where you ask people questions. And since he had been found by trolls, he received many questions. On December 21st, he was able to access a computer again and answered a lot of these questions, mostly talking about Anna, butts, and poops, the usual. He also posted a journal entry around this time, adding the word butt to random words as if he was creating a butt-themed dialect. His obsession seemed to be growing. He also admitted to being a pedophile again, though he preferred the term pedosexual, as if it was part of the LGBTQ+. Also, he talked a lot on how much he hated vaginas. Christmas, as well as the end of the year, was slowly approaching.
Sorry, guys. I am listening to the story. As I look down, I'm trying to find this comment that somebody had left that the audio still sounded real low when I spoke. So if you guys could leave me a message and let me know if it still sounds that way. I was going to reach out to them and ask them if this video you could hear me speaking if it's a little louder. I turned up the mic, but I have a Shure mic, which great mics obviously, but this one has a stupid touch. Like I think it's just a gimmick, but to turn up the volume you have to. Oh, there goes my cell phone again. That's what happens when you have hardwood floors. Damn it. Oh, did you guys know that if you bought a screen protector, like the high-end one at Best Buy, that they will replace it for free for as long as they have it in stock? So I must have broken my screen protector at least 3 times this year. And each time I just go in, they look up your name and everything in the computer, verify it's you, and then they'll be like, okay. They'll go grab one right off the shelf and replace it right there for you. So they do a hell of a good job for that. I also have an announcement to make after this video's over. How long are we into it? I say we'll go for like another 5 minutes and then I'll stop it right there. But yeah, just if you can comment to me, let me know if you could hear me better.
On or around Christmas Eve, Nick answered a question stating that he still sees the underage half-sister that he allegedly molested at holidays. He also answered a question saying he physically found someone in his family attractive and wanted to f them up the butt. Not much
God.
Besides gross tweets happened in 2014. So we go into 2015. 2015.
Perfect place to stop right there. So, sorry guys about all this. Yeah, if you could just let me know if you could hear this okay, I'd greatly appreciate it. We'll pick up where we left off here. And I remember hearing of the guy, but they didn't go in as much context as what she is. And this is just, I'm fucking flabbergasted. Excuse my language, but this is just far beyond weird and fucking creepy. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on that. Actually, I'll wait till the very last video to make an announcement. So, yeah, just stick with me here, and we'll try to get through the next one. Till then, peace.